just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC, that's In Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, two different places. You can find us in North Alabama, that's channel 182 on Charter Communications. Find us on Worldwide TV, and that's on Abundant TV. And they're also found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the web, and that's at icradio.media. Download our apps, and you'll enjoy that. That's Apple and Android, real easy to find, and they are free, okay? Almost every day somebody sends a message. How much are your apps? Nothing. We don't charge anything for that. But again, thank you so much for listening to Afternoon Drive Home. Wanted to mention a couple of our sponsors, and that is the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse located in Fort Payne as well as in Scottsboro. And they have this daily lunch special. Anna, if you can take some time off from the police department, they have this lunch special. It's only $4.99. You have your choice of 5 entrees, begins at 11 and ends at 2. It's worth the drive wherever you're coming from. And Bobby Ledbetter at Twin City Used Car Sales, we appreciate him as well. Go ahead and check him out. He has a still location in Fort Payne and another location in Gadsden. And My Pillow, make sure you check this out. Go to mypillow.com, and Mike Lindell will actually give you a free book. And he's also running this special on the pillows, buy one, get one free. We've had the pillows for years. You can throw them in the washing machine, the dryer, and they're still like new ones. Let's say these pillows are about 5 years old. They're still just as good as new. You can't wear them out. And the sheets are awesome. They're also buy one, get one free. But anyway, go ahead and check them out, mypillow.com. In order to get those specials, you got to use a code. And that code is Donna, just plain old Donna, D-O-N-N-A. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and talk with our special guest. Her name is Anna York, and Anna is with the Ider Police Department, and Anna and I are friends. And so, well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about your background. How did you get started with the Ider Police Department?
Well, my buddy Crabtree was actually working there. I went up there to make a report, and he actually offered me a job just there on the spot because they needed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay. I was like, I've never done dispatch, but I've done corrections before. So he just kind of threw me in there, and I've been there for over 2 years, going on 3 now.
Well, that's awesome. So tell me, what's it like, the life of a dispatcher? You got to hear it all.
You can get many moments where some of them are funny. Some of them, they'll blow your mind where people wouldn't believe it. Some stuff that we get we try not to take some stuff home with us because it can get really stressful, and it's mentally and emotionally draining, but it's not physically draining at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got to tell you something funny. I grew up in Oxford. And then my dad moved us to Geraldine when I was in the 10th grade. So that's many, many moons ago. But we went back to live in Oxford for a while. And so I had the Oxford, I used to work with GTE Corporate, and I had their account. And so and this was at the Oxford Police Department, Anniston and all that. And so these guys were laughing, and I just don't hang out with them because, believe me, you're safe with the police department, and we honor all the police department. And so I said, what's so funny, guys? And they said, well, there's a lady every single Friday night. She calls and she just says, I'm not drunk. And and I said, well, how does she sound when she calls you? And they said, drunk. She sounds like she's been drinking too much. But she calls and tells them that she's not drunk. And they'll just run by and check on her. And they said she never bothers anybody. She stays in the house, never even gets outside, but they'll run by just to make sure she's okay. And do you get calls like that? I mean, just people just saying, I'm or I drank too much, and but I'm okay.
We have some regulars. We do. Sometimes it just might be that they feel like they have something in their yard. Every time we go out there, there's nothing out there, but we always go just so they can feel safe. But I think probably one of the funniest, it didn't even happen to me. It happened to a co-worker. A lady came in with a chicken and said she needed a paramedic. And I asked her, I was like, well, did you tell her she needed a veterinarian, not a paramedic? And she was like, well, I really need to get my chicken checked out. And she had it in her arms when she came into the PD. And so we kind of directed her to a veterinarian because she wanted a paramedic.
Yeah. Well, I guess you just never know. And people are people. And I'm pretty sure I've done. Oh, and I got arrested one time, Anna. I was actually arrested. And actually, the whole thing was I was helping raise money for a cause. And so they picked me up. I was in Fort Payne. And I said, no, look, y'all, I mean, I'm busy at the station. I mean, you know, I got all this stuff going on. And they said, you can't get out until you raise enough money. And so they take me in there, and this guy looks exactly like Barney Fife. His name is Barney Wood. We had the best time. And so he was acting like he's putting me in handcuffs and all this kind of stuff. Then he said, hey, can you act like you're Thelma Lou? And I said, sure. So I acted like Thelma Lou and Barney Fife. But you guys, I appreciate everything you do. I think you're awesome. And no one should be afraid of the police. You shouldn't. But now, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, my granddad used to be on the police force in Oxford. And he said, now you've got a lead foot. And he said, the best thing to do when you're pulled over, admit it. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. Just say, yes, I was speeding. And he said, you just might be amazed. I mean, you know, you may not. So what do you say to folks who resist arrest? I know that's not what you do. The ones who say, I didn't do it, and you're going to take them in.
Honestly, it's better to not lie. Because most of the time, you know, our officers are really good and they respect people and they want that respect back.
Right.
And if you're lying to them and they know that you're lying, you're more likely going to get a ticket compared to they might let you off with a warning because you was being honest with them. Mm-hmm. You know, I can say, thankfully, I've never been pulled over or arrested. But like I was telling one of my officers the other day, I was like, if I do anything that breaks the law, it has to do with speeding. I'm a lead foot person myself.
Unfortunately, I got that issue too. Now, let's talk about 911 calls. You know, what's appropriate, what's not. I mean, should I call you if my cat's in the tree? I mean, what should I do?
No, I mean, for small town police departments, we have to dial 911 ourselves. Mm-hmm. And say if you have a cat in the tree or you have a fire, it's better to not call your small town police department. You need to call 911 because you make us a middleman, which actually slows down response times. Because we have to also call 911 to get them to dispatch somebody out.
Oh, I can see that. So they're calling you and you're having to root them. So yeah, I see that.
Oh, that's one thing that a lot of people will call us for. I know that we do go out and we do calls for animals, like animals out on the road.
Yeah.
But it would be just as easy for you to honk your horn and just kind of get it off the road because it's not like we can do anything else besides go out there and just kind of direct them. Mm-hmm. And instead of like asking an officer to come out there and do it, it'd be a lot easier if you just honk your horn and get them off the road. But we get those calls a lot because, I mean, we are a small town. We live around farms, a lot of cows, a lot of horses, which I tell people, especially if you're going to be in remote areas that you know, like just slow down because you don't want to hit a cow, most definitely, because that's a lot bigger than just a regular deer.
Yeah. Yeah. And deers are something else you got to watch out for, too.
Yes.
At particular times. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But you do have to be careful of the other person. Let's talk for a minute about people who run stop signs. I see that a lot, and it's pretty irritating. And I try to be a kind driver. I really do. But when somebody pulls out in front of me and then they go super slow and turn left, that's when I kind of lose it sometimes. So, I mean, I've got, you got to watch out for those things. And it's really important to drive the speed limit when you're going through a small town because we have tractors and trucks and that kind of thing that other people don't have.
We do. And not only that, also being around in our small town, there are a lot of people that want to pull out in front of you and, and then turn off the road. And that can get annoying. And a lot of us want to mash that horn like, like what'd you do that for? And what it is, it's also very dangerous to pull out in front of somebody. Even like if anybody has to slam on their brakes, then you probably shouldn't have pulled out.
Yeah.
Because honestly, what's a couple more seconds or 10 more seconds? Like what's another minute? It's just better to be safe than to get into a bad accident and us have to go and contact your family. And that's just goes with people that, like, also people don't realize, like, blinkers. You can get a ticket for not using that blinker. You need to use the blinker at all times. Even when you're turning out of parking lots, a lot of people don't know this. When you're turning out of parking lots, you're actually supposed to put a blinker on too. And some people don't realize that, but that's also a law that you're supposed to turn on your blinker even when you're pulling out of a parking lot. Like even if I'm pulling out of the PD, I'm supposed to turn my blinker on.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people don't use it.
No, they don't. Sometimes I think, do they think they're saving their battery or something if by not using it? But and then let's talk about the folks who maybe it's not working. They've got the window down and they're using the signals. And sometimes people don't do that. I don't know if it's just people are not aware that you can do that anymore. I'm from the old days. I grew up the day we didn't have air conditioning in cars. So I mean, that was a common thing back in those days. So what's the proper use of hand signals?
Well, a lot of people actually don't know the signals much anymore. And I mean, they're in the book, they're in the driving book, but like when you're so let's say if you're going south and you need to turn right, like you would have to do your right hand. If you're going to turn left, it's up. And if you're going to stop, you got to put your hand down.
Yeah, that's just common courtesy out on the road.
It is. And also you're supposed to put your blinker on within 100 yards of where you're turning. Because if you don't and then you just slam on your brake, you're more likely to get into an accident and someone rear-end you, because we all know that everybody drives fast around here. So common courtesy is start to slow down and put your blinker on ahead of time. And if you are going to turn, you have to use your hand and do that way before ahead of time, because you want them to not try to pass you when you go to turn.
True. Let's talk about rainy weather and how important that is, rainy weather. About, I mean, you should even allow more space between stopping and don't fly during. I've seen people who drive really slow when it's sunshiny weather, but then when it rains is when they drive fast. You're like, shouldn't it be the other way around?
I know, they like to live dangerously kind of thing. Well, a lot of people, you need to have your headlights on. Anytime your windshield wipers are going, your headlights need to be on. A lot of people don't know with the automatic cars, you have the automatic switches. But if you're one of those that don't use the automatic and you turn it, always remember to actually fully turn it, because if you don't, your brake lights won't come on. It'll just be your headlights, but not your brake lights. And we've had people call about that, and we've had to explain to them, like, hey, you got to turn it all the way or your brake lights won't come on. But anytime that your windshield wipers are going, you have to have your headlights on. That is a law. And if it is raining, you also have to have your windshield wipers on. Just because you have that Rain X that makes it just kind of fall off, you still have to have your windshield wipers on. And when you are driving in the rain, it's safer to drive the speed limit, or at least 5 under, depending on how hard the rain is, and give a little bit more space than just a car length. It's usually better to do at least 2 car lengths, because you cannot stop at the rate or the same speed you would when it's dry.
Absolutely. Okay, now school is going to be starting back in just a few weeks. So let's talk bus safety. I have seen people pass buses with my sign out.
Yeah, anytime that you see that the flashing lights, whether it be the yellow or the red, you always need to stop. It doesn't matter, even if it's like 4 lanes of traffic. And like every lane is supposed to stop. It's not just the lane that they're on. Like everybody has to stop. And anytime you see a bus, it's best to slow down already, because you don't know if they're about to stop. So it's just best to start slowing down instead of just trying to hurry up like, oh, I can beat this bus. No, for kids' safety, you need to already be slowing down and already be prepared to stop when a bus is coming right in front of you. Like, you just have to. And don't pass them. Even if you're behind a long line and you get a chance to pass them, it's just safer to not to, because of the kids that are on that bus. I mean, I'm sure most of these parents that have kids, they wouldn't want that to happen either.
Mhm. Absolutely. In Geraldine on Highway 75, that's where I live. I've seen a lot of people. There's a little dip as you're going north, and there's a bridge, and it kind of goes down, then it goes back up again. And even though it's not it's not, the lines are not where you can't pass, I still wouldn't pass there, because you've got to have enough, get go in that vehicle you're in to get you around, because you're going uphill, and it's just gonna take more power for that car. I have seen people almost get killed there. And I don't know what it should be. It should be yellow line. It should be blocked, I
Yeah,
think.
double lines.
Yeah, it should be.
A lot of people do pass people in double lines, and it's like, you're not supposed to pass people with double lines. It has to be the like separated lines. And to me, even though if it's separated lines, you need to be sure that you give enough space also for the person that you're passing. And also, if you are not sure about passing somebody, just don't don't hesitate.
Don't, because that's going to get everybody in trouble.
Yeah, especially if you ever have to slam on your brakes and then back up.
Uh-huh.
No, I've seen that happen to people. So normally, if I see someone passing, I actually start hitting my brakes to give them that space to pass.
Uh-huh. Anna York is with us right now. She's with the Ider, Alabama Police Department. I know you're probably listening all over the country, but these same rules still apply to you, whether you're in New York or whether you're in Ider or Geraldine, Alabama. So make sure you do follow those rules. I want to talk to you just a little bit too about, we get ice. Now, you folks up north laugh and make fun of us, because every time it snows, we freak out. But there's no more bread, there's no more milk in the grocery store, not like that good stuff. But there's a reason our rain is different from yours. Now, you got that really pretty fluffy snow, and it's easy to drive in the fluffy snow, but we get ice here. And so that's why you guys, suggest the streets are closed or roads are closed or whatever. So what are some safety tips driving in the ice? That's going to be here before you know it.
Well, it's better if you have a full drive. We'll put that out there. But honestly, anytime that there is ice or slush, because slush can turn into ice very fast, especially around in the Ider area, because we're at that higher elevation, we're closer to the bluff. And Ider just seems like you can go to Henniger and there not be any, and then go to Ider and it'll be covered in ice. But people also need to take precautions to be sure that you're driving at appropriate speed, which normally, honestly, you can spin out at going 30, 25 miles per hour. And some people don't realize that, but if you just kind of gas it, it's better to do a slow pace. And anytime that you're going down a hill, just take your foot off of the gas. Don't hit your brakes, because that right there would just make you go into a wreck. It's better just to take your foot off the gas and just kind of glide down it. Because anytime you hit your brake, it's like your tires just cannot grip, so you're automatically going to either start fishtailing or going straight into a ditch. And if you are, just go into the ditch. Don't try to brake it, because it's just going to make it worse. If you're not used to driving in it, I do recommend you don't drive in it. It's just better safe, because we have had people that have had their lives took from getting out here driving on the snow, and they think, well, I'm older, I know how to drive on it, and they get out here and drive 60 miles per hour or more, don't wear a seatbelt, and end up taking their own lives because of just not being responsible. So I beg you, if you are not used to driving in the snow and in the ice, just stay at home. It's just better to call out of work and be safe than sorry.
It is. And also, it could be somebody else's life as well.
Yes.
And so now during the summer month, or during the winter months, I would rather say, we could have like icy weather could just come up from out of nowhere. We're in Alabama, where you can have 4 seasons in one day.
Yes.
So we could have sunshine and heat, and then the next thing you turn around and it's ice coming in.
The bipolar weather.
And I do mean ice. I mean, it really is ice coming in. So we like to keep our car packed just in case something comes and we keep a few things in the trunk of the car, what are some things you suggest people do keep in the vehicle just in case they do get caught in the ice?
Definitely water, covers, a lot of blankets. A lot of people don't know this, but they actually have electric blankets that you can plug into your like smoke thing where you can light a cigarette for some people.
Don't smoke.
Yeah, don't smoke. But you can also do snacks like protein bars, things that have good amount of protein in it. There is a thing, it's called liquid IV, and you can drink one bottle of it and it counts as 3 bottles of water.
Wow.
Which will actually keep you hydrated better. It has really good electrolyte, and it also has like 4 main vitamins in it. So I would recommend getting the IV packs, like the liquid IV packs. You can get them at Walmart where all the other little drink carriers are. But it being cold, I mean, you can also take canned food like Vienes, potted meat, stuff that is simple. Crackers. I always have crackers in my car because it's just better to have it. And make sure to always fill your tank when you know it's going to be snowing or storms. Always fill up your gas tank. Don't wait the next day. Don't put it off, but always have a full tank of gas.
Absolutely. Anna York is with us. She's with the Ider, Alabama Police Department. Now let's come back into the summertime again. And I'm going to tell you what, a couple of times I've been at a particular department store and I will look and it'll be hot. I'm talking hot. And people will have either their kids or their animals in the vehicle with the windows rolled up. And one lady saw me. She was coming out. She said, "Oh, I was about to get something and knock the windows out." I mean, I was about to do that, but I saw she had 2 kids, and kids can suffocate really fast when it's really hot outside. So, give us the do's and the don'ts for that.
Honestly, if you're going to go to the store and you plan on leaving your kid at home, it's better just to take them inside with you and put them in the buggy. Even if they want to drive you nuts, it's better to let them drive you nuts than it is to have their life taken from them. If you can leave them at home with a relative or something like that, it's better to leave them at home. Just like animals. Do not leave animals out into a hot car, especially in the summertime, because even though it might say 80 degrees outside, it's probably almost 100 degrees in that car. And if you are going to leave, like say if you have teenagers, just roll the windows all the way down. I mean, I used to sit out in the parking lot, but at least we had our windows completely down. But we had the rolling ones. We didn't have the electrical ones. So, always keep your windows rolled down. But if you have to have a pet, it's better to only go to stores where you can carry that pet inside.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry. Absolutely. Okay, now this brings another point. Nobody wants to be a tattletale. Nobody. But I'll have to tell you what I did one time several years ago. I was going up 75 from Geraldine, and I was in the 5 area. Well, this guy was weaving. I mean, he was in front of me, and I didn't want to pass him because he was weaving, but he was going like extremely slow. But my thoughts, it was really early in the morning, and I thought, I bet this guy's just got off from work. Something just told me. I bet he just got off from work and he's tired, and that's why he's weaving. For some reason, I didn't think he was drugging or anything like that. I toyed with, should I call 911? And I did. I called him and I said, "Look, I'm not being, I explained like 10 minutes and I'm not a tattletale. It's just that I'm fearing for this guy's life, because the way he's just weaving off the road and going extremely slow." And so I was there in no time. They actually, before I got off the phone, somebody just happened to be in the area and they pulled him over. but when I passed around, he just looked tired. I mean, it's just like I said, he got off, but probably been working the 2nd shift or 3rd shift. So is it okay to be a tattletale every once in a while to save somebody's life?
Most definitely. Me being a night shift worker, I'm extremely tired by the time I get off work. If I'm like really sleepy and I'm nodding in and out, it's better to pull off the road, take a 10 or 15-minute break, take a little 15-minute nap. You can even set your phone alarm, just, pull off the road. A lot of people say, turn up your music. That doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No, when I'm tired, I'm tired.
Exactly. When you're tired, you're tired. And if you're overdoing it, especially if you're nodding in and out, just pull off the road. Don't put other people's lives in danger, and don't put yourself in danger. Because 9 times out of 10, people hit another car. And if you're gonna be extremely tired, like say if you are just tired in general, and you're at a friend's house, just ask that friend, hey, can I take a nap here for a little bit before I go home? It's just better. Like even at work, like sometimes after work, most places have like little rest areas so you can go and just kind of close your eyes for a little bit, get a little pick me up, and then go.
Mm-hmm.
But don't ever try to drive when you are definitely tired and you're already starting to nod in and out. You need to pull off the side of the road. Even if you're trying to hurry up and get home, just pull off the side of the road. 10 or 15 minutes is not going to like hurt you. Just pull off the side of the road.
Absolutely. We want to keep you around. Absolutely. So
Yes.
you can watch this show and you can watch me and Anna. So you got to be around. Okay. And I'm going to end it off on something really funny. My granddad I told you about was with the Oxford Police Department. This was in the 1950s. And so he would see famous people coming through because we were halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta.
Yeah.
Elvis came through several times and he couldn't tell anybody until after Elvis had left. And so we were, like, yeah, sure you saw Elvis, because you couldn't take pictures, you couldn't do anything like that. And we asked him about Elvis, and he said Elvis was a good boy. He said he didn't get into anything and nothing like you heard on the media. He said he was just a good boy, And so do famous people ever come through that you guys can't talk about until after they've left?
Not normally. We don't really get many calls like that. I know that we go towards Trenton and towards Albertville, but we really don't get famous people around here very often. I've never seen one. Some people have, but I've never seen any. I know Henniger has actually seen some from The Walking Dead before because they stopped at the gas station and got some gas and some stuff, but most of the time we don't.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, most of the time we don't know anything about that. Normally though, some people will share it anyway. Like people that are like, even though we're in law enforcement and we don't share everything, but sometimes we have people that are in like a higher ranking than like say council or governor or whatever. Sometimes they'll share it with people and then it kind of gets everywhere. So
doesn't take
even,
long in a small town.
Yeah, it doesn't take long at all. But as far as I know, most of the time there's not a rule on that. I mean, like when the governor comes, like everybody knows. When the president comes, everybody knows. So it's not something that people would keep a secret, especially in our smaller parts of the town.
Anna, we're going to have to go. Thank you so much for being on the show today. That's Anna York. She's with the Ider Police Department. I think what you guys do is very awesome. You tell all the guys that I'm for them, okay?
I will.
Absolutely. We love the police department. Let's go ahead and go into a break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes with another show.
I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other